Good morning, my Nio Bulls. Let's get into a couple things about Nio stock and what I think it's going to do going into this next week, this next trading week. I think that you will see potential upside on Nio. You saw it outperform the market on Friday. The overall crypto in S&P 500 was down almost 2+%, which is kind of crazy. And Nio closed the week above $5. $5. Make them holler, baby. That is insane strength shown by the bulls here. Regardless or not, it was on high or low volume. You had a nice candle here on high volume. And this most likely, if I fix this trend line, would have been a bounce off of. But I don't think that you're done here, guys. What I think is going to happen on Nio stock going into next week is you have a lot of momentum going for the bulls here. Particularly with this close at 501. You could probably compare Neo's close at 501 to like AMC's one historical close at 801, right? Closing at 501 when the entire market is in the dump is insane for overall strength on this stock, because you probably had so many options activity going on this stock at $5. And the fact that you held that means that you're going to have a lot of good buying pressure going into next week. You have a couple of different things. You have an upcoming golden cross on the daily. One of my favorite key indicators when it comes to stock trading, the daily golden cross. I can go into a little bit of what it looks like, and I'll show you bonk, right? Regardless of what it's doing now, it's absolutely obliterated. But you got the golden cross right here, and you continued up 51%. Now, we're talking a stock here, right? We're talking Nio. Nio's not a meme coin, but it could do something that could resemble a meme coin, honestly. Being so oversold here, you're getting the daily golden cross, potential bounce off of this long-term trend, which if I zoom out, just to give you guys macro perspective on Nio, it peaking out in 2021 and then just trading along in this chop all throughout the bear market and really didn't catch any type of bid during the bull market. But now it is, right? And so that leads you to believe that you're going to get this daily golden cross. And weekly you closed with I'd like to call that a hammer candle, but I think I'd call it a doji. You closed with a green doji on lower volume, unless the bulls step in here going into next week. I could definitely see this 9-day EMA crossing the 50, and then you getting a nice sized move up to 550 like we talked about. 550 being key resistance. Rejected it here, rejected it here, rejected it here, rejected it here, rejected it here. Support. And it goes all the way back to IPO, right? So a test of 550 is going to be critical next week. I don't expect you to break it. If you do break it, you're looking for a decent sized move above and then a bounce and a test of this 550 zone. Because if you're able to break and test, your next zone of resistance would be that $9 zone, right around the 200-day EMA, approximately $9.70. So what I think is likely to happen next week, is you're going to kind of bump your head here, and then maybe the market finally pulls you down, right? You cool off, you give the RSI some time to cool down, you truly bounce and test this trend, and then you go. So that in that case, you'd make like some kind of inverse head and shoulders. I could see that being very, very, very possible, especially with the overall trend of the market right now. It's really shocking that a low cap stock like Nio could kind of challenge the market. And and say that it's a better investment right now. Pretty shocking to see that, right? 550 is going to be critical. I expect you to test it multiple times. On the monthly, what I thought was interesting, and this is kind of in correlation to our AMC play, or what I believe to be my bullish thesis on AMC, right? You go to the frequently used indicators here. I love the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands, often term called the squeeze bands, were invented by John Bollinger to show long-term sideways price action. Now, although this wasn't sideways, it was low volume enough and low volatility enough compared to what occurred back in 2020, where you went from $1 up to 66, to make the bands begin to coil and begin to squeeze, right? Begin to stretch like a rubber band. Very similar to AMC's chart. I'll pull that up. Boom, boom, boom. Very, very similar to AMC's chart, where you were coiled more than you've ever been, right? So the monthly Bollinger Bands here, more coiled than they've ever been. Let's pop up into Nio again. The monthly Bollinger Bands more coiled than they quite literally have ever freaking been. So a lot of these low cap meme stocks or risk on assets are playing out the same story right now, and that is finally they're moving. They're finally getting their move. So you're doing exactly what you'd like to see. You're doing exactly what you'd like to see from AMC here. You've mounted the midline, the mid band of the Bollinger Bands. So now that you have done that, you should expect a test of the upper band at $6. So that kind of plays into our 550 theory, right? As this continues to go down, you'd expect to tap it, and that these Bollinger Bands would begin to expand, and your price would begin to go into discovery here and go higher. If that did not happen, you'd most likely be touching the lower band at $3.10. But the fact that you got a monthly candle above this mid band, guys, is freaking nasty. You look at previous to Nio and the run that it had here. The mid band never really played into factor until you were going down, because the monthly time frame, the stock was so new, you never really got to see that indicator play. But you rejected it here, 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 you tested it here, and you finally broke above for the first time in Nio's stock history since 2021. Since 2021, you have not closed above the mid-band. So that monthly close for August is going to be crucial, with pretty substantial volume here for the bulls. So a lot to love about Nio. Now you just have to see that follow through, guys. So $5.50, $6, and then $9. That is your targets on Nio that you are watching to see what happens. Until the next video, guys. Peace.